One of the hidden gems of the recent anime box release was Clockwork Knight. This is a card that has escaped the notice of many, but is essentially front and center from the perspective of many Cyber Dragon or other similar machine deck players' minds. Now, it is incredibly funny in the context of these decks because what it basically allows you to do is break any board no matter what. And this is a blind second deck, and the idea behind it is we're going to use this Knight card. It basically changes all monsters on the field to machines. Now, why is that relevant? Well, you've got the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. This is a monster that you can contact fusion summon by using Cyber Dragon and any number of machines from anywhere on the field. You can contact fuse away your opponent's entire board. Just like that, no chain link, no nothing. And yeah, it becomes an absolute nightmare. It has a second effect that allows you to, like, when it's sent to the grave, you can banish it to grab an Earth machine, which is why we're playing Regulus. But that's blah blah blah. The main point is we put a fucking contact fuse into the Fortress Dragon and completely ruin someone's day. So on top, of course, the fact that we're already getting rid of all of their monsters, we're just running some back row hate in terms of our Flex Spots, Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, anything that basically helps us deal with back row. Because we're not worried about monsters, right? Because we just summon any of our monsters, because all of these monsters have their name changed to Cyber Dragon on the field, so they all meet the condition for the Fortress Dragon, which is pretty damn awesome. So yeah, that's the plan. We're going to show off some replays here of, you know, it happening, some win conditions, some combos, some really fun plays, and what the deck can actually do outside of that fun little gimmick. I actually have a replay here where our opponent just did nothing and allowed us to go full tilt and fucking destroy him. So we're going to show that gameplay probably first, because it really does show off the power of the deck and what it can actually do. Then we got some more replays after that. We will go through the deck card for card at the end and discuss it in a little bit more detail, but I'm going to be honest, it really doesn't take a genius to work this deck out. You fuse away their field, you swing for lethal damage. It's just that easy. So if you want to see more fun little anime meme decks like this, or maybe you're interested in more competitive content, you can of course subscribe to catch more videos as they're coming out. We do aim to put up at least a video a day, as best as we can at least, as well as live streams, anything else. We've got a Discord you can join, all of that fun stuff. If you enjoy Cyber Dragons or you enjoy watching, you can like the video, and you can always join as a member if you want to show additional support. But I'm not going to bend your ears here. I'm going to let us get into the gameplay. Alright, so I know a few of you out there are going to look at a deck like this and you're going to say to yourself, okay, well, gimmick aside, what can the deck actually do? So we're going to show Clockwork Knight off in the next replay, but for this replay we're going to focus on what exactly can Cyber Dragons do. Let's have a look. Our opponent, they open up. We chose to go second, so my assumption is they believed we were playing Makonko. But that's fine, it doesn't matter. With Lightning Storm and Cyber Dragon, it doesn't matter what he summons, what he did. We would have been able to break any board he put up. But either way, now that we don't have to worry about that, let's get in and see what we can do here. We're going to start with Core. Core gets searching for Cyber Dark Realm. Going to activate Machine Duplication here. Machine Duplication summon out 2 additional Cyber Dragons from the deck, which we can use as Exceed material to go into the Cyber Dragon Nova. We're going to go for Nashty here, dropping the Cyber Dragon to summon itself. Its effect in activating to bring back the Cyber Dragon from the graveyard. We're going to now go up into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Reason being, we could have gotten a little more extension out of that, but that was summon number 5, and in my head, I don't know if he was like waiting for like a Nibiru opportunity. So summon number 5, we made the Infinity to make sure that we weren't vulnerable to the Nibiru, right? So we're going to go into Seeger now. We're going to go Cyber Dark Realm, grabbing the Cyber Dark Chimera from the deck, using its effect to additionally normal summon it. There is the Nibiru that we were preparing for. I knew he had it. So we went into the Infinity to prevent ourselves from getting hit with that Nibiru there. Get negated, get destroyed, get out of here. We're going to go for Chimera, dropping the Lightning Storm to search for Power Bond. Now we're going to link these 2 away into the Fortress Dragon before going Power Bond to banish 3 Cyber Dragons into an 8,000 attack point Cyber and Dragon. Like an absolute anime moment. And just like that, our opponent does not win a deal with the 8,000 attack Cyber and Dragon, the Infinity, the Seeger, and the Fortress Dragon. Insane. It was just really cool, right? I just wanted to show off some of the plays. That gives you an idea of a lot of the other things the deck can do. It's not a one-trick pony. It's definitely not the competitive or top tier, or even rogues for that matter. But it can definitely do some stuff, right? That's some pretty cool, sort of unique things it can do there. Piercing 8k, Omni Negates, sucking up cards, but boosting with the Seeker, and Contact Fusing off with the Fortress Dragon. Just cool stuff. Let's get in the game too. Alrighty, game 2 here, drawing, oh sorry, we're going second here, because again, ideally we do want to go second. It is a blind second deck. We have the Lightning Storm, we have the Cyber Dragon Core here, luckily. They go for Photon Jumper. Looks like we're up against Galaxy Eyes. Blind second versus blind second. Of course, they do have a much higher turn 1 potential than us. I do generally think Galaxy Eyes is stronger than Saber Dragons, and I don't even really think it's close. But let's just see if he can handle us. We are going to go for Galaxy Trance here off the Jumper, bringing out Galaxy Wizard as well as Jumper, using the two as Exceed material for the Galaxy Photon Dragon. Galaxy Photon Dragon detaching material to grab themselves a Galaxy or Photon card. There is the Soldier. Soldier will allow them to discard a light monster, summoning itself out to the field, searching their deck for another Galaxy monster, while modulating its own level to either 4 or 8, depending upon what he actually wants to summon. He's going to go for 8 on this occasion here, grabbing Galaxy Summoner from the deck. We're going to normal summon the Galaxy Summoner, bringing back the Wizard from the grave. Wizard then using its effect to tribute itself off to grab the Afterglow Dragon. And then we're going to link 2 off into Soulflare Dragon. That is going to meet the condition for the summoning of the Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon in the hand, which can special summon itself so long as it controls a Galaxy Eyes monster. And he's going to use his remaining level 8s here to go into the Cypher Dragon, and then subsequently into the Cypher Cross Dragon. Now, Cypher Cross Dragon will be able to detach 2 materials, and now his whole board is untargetable, and he gets to summon an additional Photon Dragon out to the field, triggering off the Galaxy 100 to banish a card from our extra deck. Very interesting play here. So instead of going for outright negates, what he decided to go for was targeting protection as well as an extra deck snipe out of Galaxy 100, which is a very interesting play. I don't know if I would have done the same thing, but I also don't think that was terrible. I actually think that was probably a smart thing to do, to be honest. But we did just top deck into the Clockwork Knight because we are just that guy. Lightning Storm wiping out the back row. He's got that Galaxy Eternal engrave. That's fine. We're going to go Cyber Dragon Core here, activating the Clockwork Knight, and you can get your targeting removal out of here. We're summoning out the Fortress Dragon, and just like this, all we need to do is put an extra 1500 points of damage on board, and it's going to be easy lethal here. Summoning out the Chimera. Only 1300, so we are going to go for Najda here, dropping the core. We're going to now link someone off into Seeger, and just like that, it is Nibiru time. Very unfortunate. We got greedy, we overextended, and we get hit with the rock. Will he be able to finish us in one turn? Galaxy Zero bringing back the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from the graveyard. Going into Galaxy Wizard here to the added to his hand last turn, boosting up to level 8 so we can go into the Prime Photon Dragon. Prime Photon Dragon now ranking up into number C62, the Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, detaching a material because he doesn't know how to read. 25 to the face and we do survive. Obviously just doesn't know how words work. But either way, into the main phase, special summoning out the Cyber Dragon, Contact Fusing away again into another Fortress. Now let me clarify something. We didn't need to top deck a Cyber Dragon to do that. We had Cyber Dragon Core engraved, so even if we didn't, it's actually bad that we drew a Cyber Dragon there because I would have preferred another card because we would have been able to banish Core to summon a Cyber Dragon directly from deck and then Contact Fuse anyway. So drawing Cyber Dragon was actually quite a bad draw, but it is what it is. We go into our Fortress Dragon, swing for 35, not enough for lethal, but we are just going to chip him down. He's playing Galaxy Eyes, he's getting no cards in hand. What can he possibly do to bring this back? He top decks into the limited to 1 Foolish Burial, sending Jumper from deck to grave. Jumper grabbing in Galaxy 100. He's setting up for something. Galaxy 100 gonna pitch the Emperor to the grave. Emperor then activates, summoning itself to the field, giving him an extra normal summon or set, but he doesn't have any monsters left to summon. So unfortunately, he is out of here. And unfortunately, yeah, and he knows that, so he is out. Contact fused twice in the one game against Galaxy Eyes. Very fun match. I'm pretty surprised about his ability to just top deck into the card that he needs every single time. What do you mean? Back to back Galaxy Zero with Galaxy Wizard into Foolish Burial? That was pretty nuts. But yeah, no, we managed to win. Fun game all around. Let's get into game 3. Alright, game 3 here. Pretty decent hand. Kind of, I would have preferred another board breaker, but it is what it is. Looks like we're up against the Mathmech though. So this is, again, I try to do it in every video. I try to show off in at least one competitive scenario where the deck is at a disadvantage to show off that, you know, its weaknesses and what it's actually bad at as well. This deck has quite a number. We are going to speed this up because we've seen Mathmech a million times on the channel. And I'm probably going to be uploading more of it on the channel. So, you know, your boy does love some Mathmech, especially with Terahertz coming out. Into the Transcode Talker, Transcode bring back Splash Mage, pretty standard stuff here. Into the VLAN Hydra, which I thought was pretty unique, tributing off that to summon out 3 tokens. And this part was cool, going into the Firewall Dragon like that. It's an interesting little combo, actually. So, hang on, what allowed him to send the Dot Skipper there? What was that? Hang on. Did I misread something? I can't remember. Either way, it doesn't really matter. So, we're going to go into early. Early and Terahertz is a pretty interesting combo. So, this basically makes Terahertz like a double negate, almost. Because he can negate with the Pit Knight early as well as the Terahertz. So this is definitely very unique. I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit. We're going to go Clockwork Knight. He knows exactly what we're planning. He's going to send the Aggregator to grave. He's going to negate that Clockwork Knight. He's not tolerating that even slightly. Summoning out the Saber Dragon to the field. That's going to let him trigger off his Super Factorial. Summoning back his 3 Mathmechs. Exceed summoning into Laplacian. He will get to snipe a monster spell and card in the hand here. Dropping our Nashter. Very unfortunate. I'm going to send the rest of our cards to the grave. We're going to go Core here. Core going to get negated by the Laplacian. Yet again, very unfortunate, but we just have to sort of have to do what we can. We're going to now Contact Fuse these 2 off into the Mega Fleet Dragon. So aside from Fortress, which will use machines on the field to Contact Fuse, we also have the Mega Fleet Dragon, which will Contact Fuse the Cyber Dragon and any monster in the extra monster zone. So we do have that up our sleeve at least. We are going to go for a Regulus here. So we are kind of able to reclaim a little bit of advantage here. We're able to take out the Laplacian, take out the Subtraction. We are leaving it with early, but if we destroy early, it just comes back during the end phase. So we're trying to remove as many resources as possible from him in as permanent a way as we can. Bring him back to Sigma, going for Signet Mining because he is literally just that guy. We're going to use Regulus to negate the Signet Mining because if that resolves, we're probably in trouble. But to be perfectly honest, with the capacity for a Link 3 on board, we're probably in trouble already. Going into the G-Golem Crystal Heart, bringing back the Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker then going to activate to bring back the Splash Mage. Going into Splash Mage to bring back the Dot Skipper. Now using these 2 to go off into Decode Talker Heat Soul, linking off with the Transcode Heat Soul paying 1,000, grabbing Multiplication before going into an Access Code Talker. Very, very BM. Did not need to do that, but he did, and here we are. We're going to go Access Code, boosting up to 11,600, popping our Chimera Attack Mega Fleet Dragon, and swinging for game. So we actually did sort of take back the upper hand for a moment against Mathmech, and again, Mathmech is a pretty high-level rogue strategy right now. So that was, you know, it was a decent enough game. I think we put up a fight there at least, but unfortunately, the comeback mechanics off of Mathmech were simply too much. But anyways, let's get into the deck profile. So anyone who is in our Discord, well maybe not our newer members, but a while back I sort of kicked up a little bit of a stink over Cyber Dragons because I was very, very disillusioned with them because they didn't seem to do anything, right? My biggest problem with this deck is that it just sort of kind of did the same things that every other deck did, except it just did them objectively worse. So I was never a fan of Cyber Dragons. However, with the addition of Clockwork Knight, it now actually has something that sets it apart and something that makes it unique in that we're utilizing the Contact Fusion mechanic significantly more than we were in the past. So that's honestly enough reason for me to want to use it. I think the Contact Fusion mechanic gives the deck something of an identity, it gives the deck something of an actual purpose, and that is enough for me to want to play it, absolutely. So I definitely am I'm much happier with Cyber Dragon right now because it actually has something that it does, right? So let's quickly talk through some of the cards here. Let's start with the actual Cyber Dragon cards themselves. We of course have the OG, the Cyber Dragon himself, meta-defending card in his day, and even now still sees some level of use. Basically just a level 5 that can special summon itself for free from the hand if your opponent controls a monster and you do not. 2100 attack points, that used to be game changing. Cyber Dragon, we're mainly here for its name and the fact that again the whole Contact Fusion mechanic, because it's a free special summon whenever you're going second, just makes it very, very powerful, honestly. Unironically, this card is really powerful. We have Hers. When Hers is sent to the graveyard, you search your deck for a Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard and add it to your hand. Remember, the only Saber Dragon you have in your main deck is the OG. So the only way to grab any other card is if you're grabbing it from the graveyard. Nashter will special summon itself to the field by discarding another monster, and when it's summoned, you get the option to special summon back a machine from the grave with either 2100 attack or defense, so Saber Dragon or Chimera, 2100 defense here, and bring it back to the field, but that does machine lock you for the rest of the turn, which you don't really care about. So really good extender. Absolutely love Nashter in this particular deck, in this particular strategy. Being able to put out additional Saber Dragon names, being able to put out additional link materials for a Seeger, just makes the game that much easier. Saber Dragon Core on normal summon will search your deck for a Saber, Spell, or Trap card. Normally the Saber Dark Realm to get that whole engine going for a Power Bond search, but Saber Dragon Core is pretty damn broken. And Saber Dragon Core, Nashter, and hers all change their name to Saber Dragon while they are on the field or in the graveyard, and that is a large part as to why this strategy actually works, because Clockwork Knight and the Fortress Dragon needs to have Saber Dragon on the field. So that's why that actually works, and they're all pretty useful. Machine Duplication, I'm going to count as a Saber Dragon card. The idea is you target a machine monster with 500 attack or less and special summon an additional 2 copies of that card from your deck with the same name. Remember, the name of all of these monsters on the field is Saber Dragon, so when you target it off of Machine Duplication, you summon 2 of the level 5 Saber Dragon, which is excellent in giving you the materials necessary for a Saber Dragon Infinity. So Machine Duplication is busted. We've got, I'm going to come back to Power Bomb with a Saber Darks. We got Saber Emergency, grabbing a light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or a Saber Dragon monster for deck to hand. Pretty useful card in just searching out a combo piece or an extender. We got Saber Repair Plant, which if you control a Saber Dragon or have one engraved, you can add a light machine from deck to hand, again primarily to search your cards yet again, but another useful aspect of this card is that you can grab Kaijus. Pretty useful. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to throw Clockwork Knight in here. Yeah, Clockwork Knight, all monsters in the field become machines. Machine monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense, and machines your opponent control lose 500 attack and defense. You can manage this card from the graveyard to discard a card and add an Earth machine from deck to hand. Pretty interesting card. Again, you very rarely use the search effect, but it does enable you to search Regulus in a pinch, and Regulus is a good card to have even just in your opening hand, so there's no real reason not to play it. So yeah, I mean that's pretty cool, but mainly it's here for the changing of types to machines so that you can contact fuse into your Fortress Dragon. That's the Saber Dragon cards. Now we got a couple of Saber Darks, which we're going to talk about quickly. We got the Saber Dark Chimera. This card will allow you to discard a spell or trap to add a Power Bond from deck to hand, and if you were to use, fusion summon for the rest of this turn, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as material, which means Power Bond now can use monsters from the grave. And why is that such a good thing? Well, Power Bond allows you to fusion summon a machine monster specifically using hand, field, or now the graveyard, thanks to Chimera, to bring out a machine fusion, and its attack points become double its original attack points until the end of the turn. That enables you to go for a 5600 attack point Saber Twin Dragon that attacks twice, or a 8000 attack point Saber End Dragon with piercing damage. So it basically just helps you set up insane levels of damage and board breaking in a pinch. So yeah, pretty damn useful card, especially considering you've already gotten rid of your opponent's entire board, right? So yeah, Power Bond, absolutely nutty. Not necessary, you could totally cut this little engine, but it is just another little backup option for you to go into like a Rampage or a Saber Twin or Saber End, just as an additional win condition. Then you've got Saber Dark Realm. This is normally your search target off of core. You get to, when activated, search your deck for a Saber Dark monster, and you can activate it while face up to normal summon a Saber Dark in addition to your regular normal summoner set. It has a bunch of other shit, but that doesn't apply in this deck. So basically searches for and then summons your Chimera. And then the rest is pretty much just hand traps, extenders, fillers. We got the Triple Max C, Triple Ash Blossom. We've got some Kaijus in here. Kaijus are searchable off a Saber Repair Plant, which is nice. We got the Feather Duster. We've got Triple Lightning Storm to deal with back row. Since our deck already deals with monsters, we might as well have some cards in place to deal with back row. And then we got double call by and a single cross out. So most of the deck's fairly straightforward. A lot of that's very flexible. You don't have to play quite as many as I'm playing. but I was very comfortable with this list. I think this list does exactly what I want it to do. And yeah, there's not an awful lot I would change, to be perfectly honest. This isn't the top tier deck, this isn't super optimal or anything like that. It is Saber Dragons at the end of the day, but it is pretty fun nonetheless. Getting into the extra deck, it's really not that deep. You could maybe, if you're going to optimize anything in the deck, it's probably going to be the extra deck. I would maybe drop Rampage to 1, and I would drop Phoenix for an additional Fortress Dragon. I did sometimes want a third, so you could play a third Fortress Dragon. You might want to play a second Mega Fleet if you can invest into a second Mega Fleet, although it is a UR, so if you don't want to, I don't blame you. But yeah, by and large, the extra deck is fairly straightforward. All of your fusions here are split into 1 of 2 categories: Power Bond targets or Contact Fusion targets. So Power Bond targets are your Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, which can send up to 2 light machine monsters from deck to graveyard, and it gains that many attacks that turn, so it can attack 3 times per turn. And don't forget, it's also going to be boosted up to 4,200 attack points from Power Bond. So 4,200 attacking 3 times is pretty dope. It can also destroy spells and traps in the opponent's field up to the number of fusion materials used for its summon upon being summoned. So website back row, I can attack a bunch of times, it's boosted way up, pretty solid card. Saber Twin Dragon can attack twice, but there's no cost, there's no activations, there's no nothing. Just it can inherently attack twice. And it is bigger at 2800, being boosted up to 56. So it's basically just bigger and simpler. So if you're worried about your opponent having a monster negate or something like that, well, Saber Twin Dragon doesn't give a shit. And Saber End Dragon definitely doesn't give a shit. A fusion of 3 Saber Dragon monsters, this card will deal piercing damage, but it's going to have 8,000 attack points. So incredibly high attack points, and it's piercing as well, which makes it very difficult for your opponent to survive both it and the attacks of anything else that you're going to summon. Then we got our Contact Fusion targets. We have the Fortress Dragon, again working alongside Clockwork Knight. Contact fuse away the whole field into the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, as he is a fusion of Saber Dragon and any number of machines anywhere on the field. Its original attack is the number of cards used for its summon multiplied by 1000. Then we got the Mega Fleet Dragon, our other Contact Fusion target. You Contact Fuse this by using Saber Dragon and any monster in the extra monster zone, and its attack points becomes the original number of materials multiplied by 1200. So it's going to be 2400 attack points. Basically just here to get rid of a problematic monster in your opponent's extra monster zone, should your Clockwork Knight fail. We've got Chaos Angel, which you can summon pretty easily in this deck actually. And if you summon it using just lights, which is more common in this strategy, then it is unaffected by activated monster effects. So that's honestly pretty damn solid. Banish a card on summon and it's unaffected by activated monster effects. 3500 beater. That's fucking solid. Hell yeah. Double Nova, double Infinity. Nova has a couple of effects that are actually relevant in Saber Dragon, so you can detach a material to bring back a Saber Dragon from graveyard, or you can banish a Saber Dragon to boost this card up to 4200. But primarily it's going to be here as material for a Saber Dragon Infinity, which can be summoned on top of Saber Dragon Nova. It gains 200 attack points for each material attached to it. Once per turn, can yoink a face-up attack position monster and equip it onto itself. That's an ignition effect. And it also has a once per turn Omni Negate simply by detaching a material. This is a very popular card in a lot of different decks. Any deck that can summon Nova or summon 2 level 5 machines will normally play Infinity. This card's pretty nuts. We have Zeus for emergencies, and we have Seeger. Seeger is a pretty interesting card. If it hasn't attacked yet, you can target a machine that has 2100 attack or more, and it gains 2100 attack and defense, but neither player takes battle damage from attacks involving this monster, so Seeger. So basically what it means is, let's say you have Saber and Dragon and Seeger. Well, Seeger can boost Saber and Dragon from 8,000 up to 10,100, but your opponent doesn't take any damage from Seeger's attacks. But you can still use it to take out a monster, or to take out something that's blocking the Saber and Dragon, and then swing for an incredible amount of damage off of the Saber and Dragon, or Twin Dragon, or whatever, right? That's the idea. And that's the whole extra deck. Again, it's really not that complicated. The deck is fairly straightforward. It is a bit of a gimmick. It's not like super competitive, but it is definitely a blast. So if you're in the market for some Cyber Dragon, or if you're just looking for a quirky little deck to play in casual, or maybe to troll us a couple of guys on the rank ladder, this is definitely the way to go about it. Super budget friendly, very, very, very cheap. Yeah, love it, nothing else to say. So if you got this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you got this far, join as a member if you want to show a bit of extra support, and lastly, if you're interested in some of the other videos or other deck lists that we've recently uploaded, check some of the other thumbnails on the screen now. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.